What do you see, Prince? Did you see someone walking a dog? Did you see someone walking a dog?
He's a great guard dog. Alright, I think we're good for now.
Established.
I think so. Alright. You want to start it?
Sure.
Go.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Shelf Control. I'm Lisa.
I'm Norm.
And today we're going to talk about Zombicide, Undead or Alive.
Undead or Alive.
Norm got this game a few months ago. Was super excited about it in a used bookshop that he frequents. And he saw it on the shelf for how much?
$35?
$35, and this usually sells for about $100 plus.
About that.
So he checked all the pieces, everything was there, and no,
There was more.
he saw the price, grabbed it, ran home with it, and said, if it's missing a couple pieces, fine, because for that price we can't miss out. So he checked all the pieces when he got home, everything was here.
And there was some extra pieces because they had the Running Wild or Riding Something expansion. It's one where you have your heroes on horses as the expansion. They had it on the shelf for $35 as well, but that didn't seem as good a value as just this. So I left it, got this home, cracked it open, and it had the character cards for the expansion of the guys on the horses.
Who are these people?
And so, being the nice guy I am, I went back to the used bookstore with those pieces, asked them if I could open up the expansion box and check, and they said it was okay, and I opened it up and it was missing those character pieces, so I put it in there so whoever got that didn't have a broken game.
He's a good guy.
I'm a hero.
So yeah, we actually got more than just the base game. It just, the extras weren't playable.
And as you can see, we're still in our makeshift
fully equipped dungeons.
studio / living room.
Where'd the tree go?
Got rid of the tree.
Got rid of the tree. It's
And
now
the stockings.
and the stockings.
Stockings.
Yes.
But now
We kept the dog.
Yeah, keep the dog.
Now it's an empty corner for now.
So the lighting's not great. We're still working on how to get all of this properly lit. Getting
Yeah.
it lit.
Get lit.
Lit.
So
So a little bit of history. Zombicide is a game that I've been interested in. They've come out with, they had the original Zombicide, which was a modern day setting, and then they've had a bunch of other settings, some fantasy settings, some sci-fi settings, things like that. They just came out with Marvel Zombies. It's a lot like with the Marvel Zombie comic that came out. And I've always been interested in it, but I've never been $100 plus interested in it.
I am never $100 plus interested.
If you watch Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co., he's a big fan of Zombicide. He's tried them all, but he'll admit it's what they would call a beer and pretzels game, where you just get around and chuck dice and kill zombies and hopefully not die to zombies.
Die, werewolf zombie.
There's not a whole lot of strategic gameplay. It's have a bunch of people over to have some fun killing zombies kind of game. And
Yeah, he brought this home really excited, wanting to play it, and it's not, I wasn't interested in killing zombies. I mean, we've played it, I've played it with him, and he thought our youngest son would be interested. He's not a gamer, but he's into this kind of stuff.
he likes the co-op where you can like run in guns blaring as like a hero kind of thing, and
I'm a hero.
so I thought this might be right up his alley, although he might get eaten by zombies quite often. But
We haven't been able to play it with him yet. We were hoping at Christmas we could, but other things happened. We did other things instead.
But the theme of this one, the Undead or Alive, the Wild West theme, that one speaks to me more than any of the others for this zombie game. I don't know why. I'm not interested in the zombies running through modern day cities and you're trying to fight them. I'm not interested in zombies in space. I'm not interested in fantasy zombies where you're throwing magic at them. I don't know what it is about this Wild West. It might be because even though I never got into the Doomtown game with the weird West, I kind of liked that theme. So this might be a carryover from that, but I really like the Western theme for the zombie game for some reason.
An interesting thing about this is when we got the game home and opened it, the previous owner had actually started painting some of the figs, some of the minis in here, and we didn't like how they were painted. They didn't go along with the character in the picture of the character card, so Norm did some research, figured out how to strip the paint off of these minifigs so that we can either leave them as is or paint them ourselves. And by ourselves, I mean by him.
By me, I've got some of the Army Painter speed paints that I've never tried before, and I think I might try painting these if we decide this stays in our collection. If not, I'll try painting something else. But I thought I might do a video series on a guy who's never painting something for the first time using speed paints and see how that goes.
That'll be interesting.
So, yeah, not too. I kind of wish that I took pictures of the painting job.
Oh yeah.
That was done.
The before and afters.
I don't want to say that it was a bad paint job.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of the figs they weren't complete. They would have the primer and a couple colors on them, and then some would have a few more colors. So I don't know that the person ever finished any of the figures, but it was really kind of disorienting when you're playing and you have your character sheet in front of you, like Trixie with the red hair and the green dress.
She had black hair.
She was painted with black hair and a dark purple dress.
So you're looking for Trixie, and you're not looking at that minifig. So
I'm sure that if we kept playing enough, we'd get used to the colors. But it was like, I kind of want them to look like they do on the box, on their little character sheets. And so that's what got me curious about what does it take to paint some of these ourselves.
So he did some research. The kids for Christmas got him some paint, and he's curious to get started on that.
Are you going to buy this time, or are you just curious?
I suppose I'm bi-curious.
We'll see what I do, but I think it might be worth putting a couple of painting videos up on the channel of just here's somebody who hasn't painted anything in years, trying out for the first time.
So be nice. Be nice to him.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I don't have to, but I ask that you be nice to him.
So we played this game. It was just me and Lisa going through the different missions. I think we went through the tutorial, maybe the first two
or three, yeah.
And so we got a feel for it.
And then he started doing some more research on the game, just looking into it, and he asked what I thought about the Long Dead Walkers and the Abomination pack, and I said if he wanted it, he could get it, and so he found a good deal on it, I think on eBay or something.
It was the Board Game Geek Marketplace.
Okay. So he ended up finding a good deal on them. They were opened, but they still have the shrink wrap on them. They were in great condition, so...
The guy opened them just to make sure everything was there and undamaged.
So we picked them up, and we've played a couple times with these expansions in there, which we'll talk about as well.
Yeah, so slight spoiler, or maybe even not a spoiler if you watched the video where I was talking about, it was a video where I was talking about Zombicide Undead Alive and The Witcher Path of Destiny and Kickstarter exclusives and things like that, because there was talk in Path of Destiny about whether Kickstarter exclusives from a previous campaign should be available during this crowdfunding campaign.
Oh, were these Kickstarter exclusives?
They are Kickstarter exclusives. And so if you've seen that video, you got kind of a spoiler as to what my thoughts are on the base game. Because with the base game, you only get one abomination. and
And he doesn't do anything.
he's a special type of zombie that you flip over an abomination card and the big guy comes out, and he's tougher to kill, and he's supposed to be the big baddie, but it comes with just one abomination. He has no special rules other than the fact that he's got 3 health instead of the 1 or the 2 in the case of the brute, and so there was no variety with your abominations. There's always this vanilla bowler hat guy.
My special, special boy.
Playing the game, if I guess I can go into whether or not I liked or didn't like the base game. I liked the base game. It was fun, especially for a $35 game.
Mm-hmm.
It was perfect for a $35 game. I would not expect anything more from a $35 game. For a $100 game, it was not enough.
I agree with you on that.
The number, I think there's 14 survivors is what they call them. So your playable characters, there's 14 of them. You play with 6 of them at a time, regardless of player count. You always have 6. They don't reduce the number for the numbers of players.
5 is right out.
That's okay. Eventually you might get tired of them, but you've got 14 to choose 6 of, so you can mix and match, and that's okay. But the one abomination is unacceptable for a $100 game.
Yeah.
There's no variety in what you're going up against. You got the walkers, the runners, the brutes, and a guy who's just basically a bigger brute. And so jump into what I think about Zombicide. I think this is a great game. This is a lot of fun. It's a beer and pretzel game. Mm-hmm. You gotta be okay with zombies eating your face.
Is that okay with you, Nut?
And restarting the scenario, because that can happen.
All they want to do is eat your brains.
I'm not unreasonable.
It's all about just trying to run in there, being the hero, shooting your guns, hitting people with frying pans and things like that. And I think it does that really well.
Yeah.
Really well. But the base game, I went in there about a month later, and they had an unopened copy of Zombicide Undead or Alive. Again, $35. Somebody picked it up, so they were probably super happy, or they turned it around and sold it for more. I don't know, but yeah, Zombicide Undead or Alive gets a thumbs up from me if you can get a great deal on it. Paying $100 for it, paying $80 for it, even it's not an $100 game. But
I would say that as well. The game is fine. I don't dislike playing it. It's $35 still might be a little steep for me for my enjoyment out of it. Norm enjoys playing it. When we introduced the Long Dead and the Abomination pack, that made me enjoy it more. We've played it a couple times, so I want to get a few more plays in to really have a good opinion of it with these expansion packs. But, would I have paid $35 for this game? No, I wouldn't have, but I'll play it if he wants to play it.
And so it was really because of this channel and doing reviews that I wanted to pick up the Long Dead Walkers and the Abominations, because it really felt like the base game here was just lacking in something. And there were all kinds the 2 expansions that are available in retail is the ones with the horses that add 1 abomination.
For heaven's sakes.
And that didn't interest me at all. Reading up on it, that the characters with the horses were really only good as long as they were on the horses, but in order to go into building, you got to get off the horses, and if a horse dies, it's like a character dies and you lose the scenario. And it only added one abomination. So
you put them in here.
so I wasn't interested in that one. The Gears and Guns, I think, was the other expansion. It has like a steampunk kind of thing where it's more of the steampunk Wild West science fiction.
I'm steampunk now.
And that didn't really appeal to me. So reading in what I thought would make the game better came down to these Kickstarter exclusive bits that you could only buy on the secondhand market from someone who got it on Kickstarter. They had the big box of stretch goals, which had a bunch of abominations and a bunch of extra other survivors, like 20 some other survivors, and a bunch of zombies that were unique in that they were like, I think they were just your regular walker types, but they each would have like a special ability on them, and those kits were selling for like $125 on the secondhand market. And I didn't think that while the abominations would be good and maybe having some new survivors, having a whole bunch of singleton zombies that had their own special abilities seemed like too much overhead for such a simple game. And so the only Kickstarter exclusives that interested me was the Dead Stock Abominations, which adds 4 new abominations.
And can I just talk about the abominations for a minute? So here's the one that comes standard with the game. The Boiler Hat Abomination. Okay. This is the Abomination pack. So,
one of these things is not like the other.
One of these things, it's not quite like the others. He's just kind of like, why am I here with these others? I guess it makes sense because he's got no special powers.
Yeah.
And these other guys all do something nasty when they come out.
So I thought it was quite entertaining when we pulled the Abomination card, and I think the first one we got was this guy.
Yeah, the Longhorn guy, which is just...
And then he came out, and I was like, what in the world? What's happened here? So I think that's funny.
Yeah,
that we've got these abominations that are huge, and then we've got the original, which is a tiny guy.
How small? Too small.
So by getting the Dead Stock Abomination pack, we now have 5 abominations. So you take the abomination cards, shuffle them together, and when an abomination would show up, you flip over the top deck and hope it's this guy because he's easy to deal with. But drop at random one of these 5 on the board, and then when you kill him, next time an abomination card flips over, you get another guy
bringing
out
another one. So yeah, it brings some variety, and playing with them is much more enjoyable than just the base game. And then when you've got the long dead walkers, the only difference between these and regular walkers are you can only kill them by melee attacks. So
it's like they're skeletons with just dried skin and clothes hanging off.
So you can't shoot them with a
bullet.
gun.
It's like they don't even notice it.
Yeah.
You gotta hit them with a frying pan.
Like a pan? Like a frying pan?
You got to hit them with a frying pan or a long sword or something. But you've got to do some kind of melee attack to kill them. Still only 1 health, so only 1 damage will kill them, but you got to do it melee.
Yeah, they're essentially just another kind of walker. And I like that added variety in there. It kind of ups the fact that you're going to need some people with melee to deal with them. You just can't go shooting everybody that pops up. And kind of a unintended plus to it.
Not unintended, intentional.
The Long Walkers came with 9 cards that you shuffle into the zombie deck that you flip over at random for each spawning point to see what spawns up there. And with just the base, we found the abominations would act quite often. I did the math before adding the long dead walkers. 1 in 4 cards roughly is like 1 in 4.2 cards was an abomination card, just because of how many abomination cards were in that tiny deck. So anytime you flipped a card, there's a 25% chance it was going to say the abomination does something. And when you're playing the game and the abomination's way over here and you're like, okay, I'm okay standing here, and then you flip over, abomination acts, abomination, then all of a sudden he runs up on you and he's beating you up, and you're stuck there with a frying pan, and the frying pan's not going to do enough damage to take out the abomination. So it's like, okay, now what do we do? When you added in the 9 Long Dead Walkers cards, it came out to an even 1 in 5 cards. So it was a 20% chance instead of a 24.8% chance.
And it's interesting what a difference that made.
It made a big difference. There were some times where the abominations would activate twice in a row, just because when you randomize a deck of cards, who knows what's going to come up. But it was a 20% chance instead of a 25% chance, and so that's actually probably a good thing when you add in these tougher abominations that are tougher to deal with and do crazy stuff on the board. So my impression, just from reading about the Abomination Pack and the Long Dead Walkers, was that these are what the base game was missing.
Yes, I will agree.
And I was willing to pick them up since I got them both from the same guy. He was clearing out what he got. I got I think it was less than $70, so it was around $100 for all of this, which these added to this, I think, would make it a $100 game. Especially because, I mean, with all these minis, the plastic costs something.
Right.
If it was standees, maybe not.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, the Long Dead Walkers and more Abominations complete the base game and make it worth $100. Is it worth $100 plus another $70? No. For what it is, I don't think that's worth it. And what's sad is these are Kickstarter exclusives. You can't get these unless somebody who did the Kickstarter are willing to part with them.
Yeah, and that's a shame.
And I don't know why they would do that. Make these available at retail.
I'll be honest. The Walking Dead or the Long Dead, they take them or leave them for me. But I agree with Norm. The Abomination Pack you absolutely need as part of the base game to make it a complete game.
You complete me.
So it was missing something, and that truly added what was missing there. So the Long Dead is just a bonus, but it's not a make or break for me. But those Abominations you absolutely need in there.
Yeah, if you were going to add in zombies with a slightly different power, this is the way to do it, not with the stretch goals where it's like, here's all these different one-ofs that do something.
Yep, they activate just like the other walkers do. It's just they have to be killed melee.
They're a lighter plastic to let you know when they're on the board that, hey, these guys are long dead, because they're
nothing but bones.
Their coloring is very much just like a skeleton. So you can easily pick them out on the board and be like, okay, those guys, you gotta hit them with a frying pan. You can't shoot them. I say frying pan all the time because that's one of the starting items for the melee people. Got a frying pan.
You got a frying pan. So overall, you've got different scenarios. You follow the book, and they've got different scenarios that you increase as you go, and they've got different challenges in them. You've got to kind of clear out the certain rooms. Have what are they called? Those boxes you got to loot.
Objectives?
Objectives, I guess.
I think they call them objectives.
So you've got these objectives you have to meet in order to complete the game, and once you've met those objectives, everyone has to get out at the exit. If one person dies, you've lost. So everyone has to make it out alive. So that makes it interesting, and each character has little different unique skills that they have. And then if you go into certain houses or certain saloons, whatever the building is, if there are dead bodies in there, it will trigger an activation of zombies. So you've got to clear those out. You can clear those out with holy water, or if you're one of the I guess.
What do they call it? Faithful? I think they call them faithful.
There's 2 faithful. If you're one of the faithful, you can use regular water.
As
holy water. And so you can clear them out that way. But if you don't clear them out, I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah, it's a whole nother spawn point.
Yeah, it's another spawn point. And then if you get an abomination, that's another spawn point. But as soon as you kill that abomination, it turns off that spawn point. So
this is putting a shadow on me.
So it's neat. So you've got these different scenarios. A train comes in. If the zombie's standing in front of the train, when it progresses, it kills the zombie. But if you happen to be there, it just moves you to the next open space, which is nice. And then you've got to be on the train with all the objectives met when the train leaves the board. So
yeah, the train is neat.
Yeah, it's neat. You've got a what's that gun?
You got the Gatling gun.
The Gatling gun.
It just sits in one spot.
That's pretty cool.
You can just mow them down, but it makes a whole lot of noise, so the zombies are coming to the guy with the Gatling gun.
Yeah, but how cool is it to have a Gatling gun? So just all these different things. You've got dynamite, so you can throw dynamite into a space where there's a whole bunch of zombies and wipe them all out.
It'll kill everything in that area, so if your buddy's standing there, you don't want to throw the dynamite in. Because there were scenarios where it's like, one guy was one of the brawler guys with the melee was just stuck in a spot, and all these zombies just kept coming in, and he's trying to fight his way out, and it's like,
if you're in a spot,
get out, I can throw dynamite in there.
If you're in a spot with a zombie, it takes an extra action to move out. So if there's 5 zombies, if there's 5 zombies, you need 10 actions. You don't get 10 actions. You start with 3. And as you level up, you may get additional actions. So he had a character that was just stuck, and he was able to clear out the zombies for the most part, but he never had an additional action to move out of that space. And of course, at the end of our turns, more zombies spawn. So he was just stuck there for about 3 rounds, and we weren't going to win this game if we couldn't get him out of that spot. So that was a challenge that we finally were able to get through. If you've got brutes, you need to hit them for 2. Most of your starting weapons are only 1 damage. So it's a little challenging. You get an abomination, it's 3. So you got to work your way up to those kind of weapons. So you're wanting to search the buildings to try to find the weapons that you need to get a higher score or a higher damage hit. And so it's frustrating when you're checking and you just get plenty of bullets. Well, plenty of bullets aren't gonna be enough to kill that abomination that's going to destroy us if we don't get him out soon. So different things in the game made it fun, made it interesting. So we did win that game, even though
eventually he was able to get out.
He needed help.
Yeah, once other people got some good damage weapons, they could move in, because you've got, if you're shooting, there's like a priority list. If there's a higher health thing in there, you can't shoot the smaller health stuff unless your character's a marksman who has the ability to aim. So you could be in there with 15 walkers and 1 brute, and if your shots only do 1 damage, that brute's taking all those hits, and they're not cumulative, so he's not dying. You need the melee attack where you can choose your targets, or have someone who's a marksman to shoot them down, or have a big damage attack so you can get those higher health guys out, so then other stuff can happen.
And if you're shooting into a section with a lot of zombies and you have one of your companions in there, one of your allies. If you have one of your allies in there, if you're not a marksman and you miss, you're hitting your
miss ally. Yeah, you miss the zombie and you hit your friend. There's no misses that just miss everything.
So you may have a rifle that you get to roll 2 dice on, and you defeat him with a 5 or higher. If you roll a 5 and a 4, you may defeat the zombie, but that 4 is hitting your friend. So you got to be careful. If you're a marksman, then you're skilled. You can ignore the friendly fire, but you need to be careful shooting into a space that has some of your partners, your allies, because you're potentially going to be hurting them.
And that's a neat part of the puzzle too. That you just can't just go blam 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 willy nilly.
I mean, you can.
Oh yeah, you can.
But willy nilly is going to be killing everybody.
Your friend's not gonna enjoy it.
You shot me.
One thing that I'd like to mention is the player board. I don't know what the early versions of Zombicide were like, but this has some subtle quality of life things going on where like the card pieces where you set your cards have a little indentation on the bottom, so you push down and it lifts up the card. Over here where the card sits, the indentation's on the side, so you push down and it lifts the card up, and then you have a little thumb thing to get your character card out. That was just
Convenient.
yeah,
It's nice. Yeah.
It seems to me like that's the kind of thing where the first Zombicide didn't have that, and people were like, it's really hard to use your fingernails to get the cards out, and then they fixed it. So
Unless you're like us that sleeve everything, and then it's not too difficult to get it out.
A little bit easier. The little slidey mechanism here on the bottom for your AP is a little bit fiddly. So sometimes you click it over and it doesn't quite match the number, but
Fiddly.
a little bit fiddly. But it does its job fine.
It's fine.
I like how the different characters have their own little special feel to them. Because when they level up, when you level up to level 2, everybody just gets one extra action. But then when you level up to level 3, you have a choice of 2 abilities that you can choose one or the other of. And then when you level up again, you get another choice of some abilities. And so you're not necessarily going to level the person up the same way every time. So you might be like, well, in this situation, this person needs this ability, and so.
And the brawlers are pretty fun. Brawlers can just jump into a section with tons of zombies and just start brawling, and then they can, if they kill one, they can jump right out. Which is a pretty good hit and run.
That was Meg she had the ability hit and run. Brawlers have the ability where
to charge.
They can do a move and then do a free melee attack once per turn. So kind of you've got at the beginning of the game you got 3 actions. So your first action you move in and do a free hit, and then you still have two abilities.
You're just charging in, sucker punching.
But Meg has an ability called hit and run on top of that, where if she kills something with an attack, she gets a free move, and it ignores the restriction of how many zombies are in that area. So she could, with one ability, charge in, hit, and then if she kills that zombie, move out, and she's still got the two actions left. And so there's neat things that can be played that way, because like Carl, I think Carl is the name of another brawler.
Yep.
He can charge in. He doesn't have hit and run, so he's the guy who was stuck there the whole time with all these zombies on him.
Carl.
But he gets +1 damage to his attacks. So
he was, from the beginning, the only one that could defeat the brutes.
Yeah, so with the
early
brute
on,
with the frying pan does 1 damage. He got +1 melee damage, so he could hit a brute with a frying pan. All he needed was a 2-attack weapon, and he could defeat an abomination with it.
So he was the one who early on would take care of our brutes, and then once the abominations came out and he got a stronger weapon, he was our abomination killer. Without him, dynamite would have been the only way to handle those.
And so yeah, I like the characters. I could see having a few more characters would be nice. We haven't played enough to get tired of these. There are only 2 faithful. There's 4 of all the other classes, but only 2 faithful, so you might get tired of those 2 faithful. Yeah, I think the 14 characters is fine for the base game. One thing that I think is a little bit awkward is the fact that you play with 6 characters all the time.
Right.
Which is fine if you're playing by yourself, because you just play all 6 characters. It's fine if you're playing 2-player, because you each take 3. It's fine if you're playing 3-player, because you each take 2. It's fine at 6, because everybody takes 1. At 4 and 5, somebody's playing with 1 character, or somebody's playing with 2, and I don't know. That just feels weird to me. I wouldn't want to be the person with only the 1 character to mess with if everybody else had 2. And it would feel kind of weird if I was the one with 2 and everybody else had 1. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how you fix that. They made the scenarios to be balanced for 6 characters. You know,
So there's 6 characters regardless on how many players.
So yeah, you would have to do some crazy balancing, and I don't think with the rules being as simple as they are, I don't think that there's much space to mess around with it and try and make scenarios easier. You know, that the cards put out a set number of zombies when you flip it over, regardless of what's going on. So I think it is what it is. I don't know that I would recommend it for 4 and 5 players, just because of that. But
We'd like to play it with 3. We're still trying to talk our son into coming over and playing it, and even with David, our other son. I mean, just let the 4 of us. Oh, but 4 would be awkward.
yeah, we'd have to figure out who is. Because 6, if 4 of us were playing, then 2 people are playing 2 people are playing 1. Which
I know.
I don't really care.
Yeah, I know for sure our youngest would absolutely be playing 2.
So, and it would also. It seems like that would also change maybe a little bit of the difficulty, because the rules are when whoever has the first player marker gets to take their turn activating the characters they control in any order.
Right.
So you can plan if when we're playing 2-player and I have 3 characters, it's like, okay, I can have this person search and maybe find a good weapon and then trade it to this person who will then go and do stuff. And then if things go horribly wrong, this guy's here to take up the slack.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You can use an action to trade.
And then after you take your action, the other player takes their action with their 3 in any order, and then at the end of the round you spawn zombies and you pass the first character token, and they can take the turn with their 3 characters in any order of those 3. If you were playing a 6-player game, it's like, okay, this character is moving, then it's clockwise.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, now your character is moving. Now your character.
That would increase the difficulty for sure.
So the planning is, you can't be like, okay, if I do this for you, then you could do this, but wait, that guy's going next.
Right.
And so, I don't know. We haven't played it at those higher counts to see how that matters.
Yeah, how that would impact it.
Because the planning with the 3 characters of your own is kind of cool. we had one scenario where she didn't have any brawlers, so she didn't have anybody who initially started with a melee weapon, but all 3 of her people were trapped in a room where there were zombies and a brute, and they could only do 1 damage. And so one of them happened to find a pickaxe, I think it was, that deals 1 damage as a melee weapon. And so I think she searched, found the pickaxe, took a swing at one of the smaller zombies, and because it was a melee attack, was able to kill the small ones, even though the big one was there. Kill it. As her last action, trade that melee weapon to
Carl.
To the other character. No, your other character that was in there.
Oh, yeah,
my guys
yeah,
weren't
yeah.
there. And then so she took 2 swings with it and used her last action to trade it to the third person in there, who then took some swings and was able to get the number of zombies down to just the brute. And then I think damage was taken, but then they were able to get out of there because there's only 1 zombie, and so 2 actions would get them out. And so being able to plan like that was kind of a cool image in my head. Someone's like, I got a pickaxe, thwack, throws it to the other person. The other person, thwack, throws it to the other person.
That's a good action scene. Yeah.
It's like, I'd like to see that in a movie with 6 characters. That might be I don't know. I mean, I guess you could be like, I'm going to hit and I'm going to throw it to that person, and we'll wait for that person and that person and that person to take their turn before the next cool thing happens. But yeah, so the player count is a little wonky to me, I think.
All right.
I think we've talked an awful lot about this game.
For me saying I take it or leave it, I've sure hyped it.
Yeah. So, what would you give a ranking? Do you want to give a ranking for base game, and then with the?
I mean, the base game as itself wouldn't get a very high rating, just because the one Abomination, you're not getting much out of the game itself.
The replayability is not
yeah,
there.
Yeah, you're not enthusiastic about replaying it. So I mean, I would probably give that maybe a 4.
The 4 out of 7 for
3
a 3.
for the base game. Yeah,
That's out of the 7.
that's out of the 7.
Okay. See, I would go higher mechanically. I would give it a 6 out of 7 for the mechanics.
Really, the base?
Because the problem is, like, the game's functional.
Okay, we're talking about the play. Okay.
Like the game's functional, and
See, I'm not good at scoring.
and it's fun.
Yeah.
But the fact that there's only the one Abomination, and he's boring. It's
Well, I mean, like some of these Abominations, like this guy charges because he's a bull, so he's going to move if there's a melee attack done in the space that he's in, it automatic triggers an activation on his point, or he gets to, or was that
yeah.
him?
I'm trying to remember who it is. I think he
gets to charge like 3 spaces.
Yeah, he can move 3 spaces on activation.
There's
or
one of
something
them
like
that if you do a melee attack and miss, and he's in that space, even if you don't focus on him, he automatically attacks. He does a counterattack. So that's harsh.
And then there's one where if you're going to take an action in his space, so if you're shooting into his space or you're doing a melee attack in space, it takes you 2 actions to do that one attack.
So they all have different, unique abilities.
So you got to handle each one different, except for this guy.
Nothing. You just got to hit him for 3.
You just got to hit him for 3. So it's one of those, like, I'm trying to rate it, not taking into account cost, and
yeah, I mean, if you're looking at the cost, I would not spend $100 on the base game. Would not, absolutely would not. Would not spend $50 on the base game. I mean, Norm got it for $35. He thought it was a good deal. I trust his judgment on that kind of stuff, so we got it for $35.
I'm happy with the base game as a $35 game. Now, time will tell. When we get our sons to play, when we get more people together, we'll see just how beer and pretzel-y it is. Are we sitting around eating snacks and laughing as we get our faces chewed off?
So when we played this the first couple times, just Norm and I, and then he talked about getting these additions, I didn't care. I didn't really feel like putting the money into these additional pieces. But I said, if that's something you want to do it. I didn't care enough for the game to jump in like that. But now having played it with the new Abominations, I agree it was a good purchase. Again, the Long Dead, I could take or leave. That doesn't really contribute to the game for me, except it forces you to have to do melee. It forces you to have to go into the space where they are, opposed to being able to shoot with your rifle or your shotgun from a space away. So that's the only difference there. So it makes it a little bit more challenging to kill those because you have to go into their space.
I think it's nice that it dilutes the deck with the Abomination.
Yeah, no, agreed. For sure on that one, for sure.
So, yeah.
But no, you're right. I would give it higher than a 3 then. I don't think I would necessarily go 6, but it's a functional game. I mean, they thought of everything pretty well.
The only thing I'm docking it for is those weird player counts, those weird higher player counts.
And the one Abomination.
And the one Abomination, yeah. I would give it the dock for replayability just for the base box. But if you factor price in, I would go lower. But I don't want to do that. This is a fun game. I would give the mechanics a 6 out of 7 because the rules work really well together and give you the experience that it promises. It just has a few little wonky things going on. So what would your
I think it would go up probably to a 5.
5?
Yeah. Go up to a 5 there on the mechanics and stuff of it. If we're looking at the playability, out of what, 3?
Yeah, there's 0 to 3 for like how much you would actually want to.
I'd say a 1.
It.
So a 6 overall for me.
Yeah, and with the base game, yeah, it's probably a 1 for me. that I would play it in unique situations. If you had some people over who hadn't played it before, be like, oh hey, let's just spend some time killing some zombies and bring it out.
And some people aren't interested in the whole genre of zombies, so it's not going to be a game for everybody.
So, but then you add the Kickstarter exclusive Abomination pack and Long Dead, and then what happens to the?
I'd say it goes to probably still stay a 5, but it'd go to a 2.
Right, so
a 7.
Yeah, because it makes it you're more
I'm
interested
more willing
in
to play it.
playing it. Yeah, and that's the same for me too. That it would go up, and probably a 2. It's not a why am I not playing it, and it's not a perfect game. So with my 6, I would make it an 8. It would probably be closer to like an 8.5, but I'll just say an 8 because I think with these new abominations, it makes the game a lot more interesting. The long walkers make it a little more interesting.
We totally messed up the first time we introduced the new abominations. We did not play correctly.
We kept forgetting what their special ability was.
We were used to the boring old way.
And it was like, oh wait, I just attacked 3 times in there. I should have be able to attack twice.
Yeah.
And things like that.
So we won that game, but technically we didn't.
It didn't feel like a win.
Yeah.
So we played it a few more times with the rules, and it was a lot harder when you're actually paying attention to what these abominations
what's
do.
interesting, we didn't play it right the first time, but there were so many more zombies out. So many more. And then when we started playing it correctly, it became much more challenging. Carl got himself trapped in a corner and couldn't get out. But we made it out. We won that one, and it was more satisfying.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. This feels like a tricky review for me because it's like with the Long Dead walkers and the abominations, you've got a complete game.
Right.
But without these, the games, it's like a starter set.
Yeah, fair.
And as much as I try to be impartial, it leaves a sour taste in my mouth that CMON, the publisher of this game, doesn't make these available to you outside of the Kickstarter. They still sell Zombicide Undead or Alive in retail stores, so people can buy this and be like, this is really cool, I want to add some more. And it's like, well,
you can't.
We've got horses and steampunk, and it's like,
but no abominations.
It's like, but I want these. I want more of these zombies, and everything is gated behind Kickstarter exclusivity. And people get really touchy about their Kickstarter exclusivity. Now they don't care if it makes the game better for other people. They want.
I got it first. I get the benefit of it.
They're like, I was in the Kickstarter. I'm special. I got this.
We're investors.
And everybody else just gets a game that's worse.
And I'd much rather everyone get the same enjoyability out of the games.
So I might be burning any possibility of CMON sponsoring our channel, but
You're really just burning bridges all over the place.
Get better, CMON.
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Make the game replayable out of the box. Don't hide it behind this stuff. But they're not going to listen to me because they make millions of dollars on every Kickstarter Zombicide that they do.
They're stupendously successful.
So their exclusives work.
Yeah, people are still buying it.
It's just such a shame for new people who I hope the guy who bought the $35 copy of this is really happy with what he's got, and I hope maybe he's not motivated and looking somewhere else, because these at Kickstarter, these were like $25 add-ons, and I got them for $60-$70 for the 2 of them. So there was a slight markup, but a lot of people are just doubling the price of these things. So yeah, I encourage people to play Zombicide Undead or Alive if you can get a great deal on it. But if you can't get a great deal on it, I don't think it's gamer friendly. That being said, do we keep it in our collection?
For now.
I think so for now. We don't have many of these beer and pretzel games where you're just sitting around and chucking dice and
Norm's not a beer and pretzel.
Getting yourself in crazy situations.
I'm more of like a hard seltzer guy.
Well, I think it has its place, but you need to, I don't know, the Wild West theme does a lot for this. If this was in a shopping mall with different characters, it's kind of cool that you have the cowboy, you have the butcher, you have the shopkeep with the shotgun. You know that they've got this Western theme going, and it's cool. I like it. So
you've got the nun with the sawed-off shotgun, who can actually throw a token into a space where it prevents the zombies from activating on their turn.
And you got the traveling preacher carrying around a wooden crucifix around.
So it's cool. It's cool.
It's such a neat theme. Your characters are cool. I think it would be less cool if it was like you're playing as the guy who went to the mall to buy some sneakers, and here's zombies now. I don't know. It's this is. If any Zombicide was going to get me, Undead or Alive was the one that was going to get me. So, anyways, I think I've made enough enemies of Simon and other Zombicide fans. So.
And Kickstarter fans. And...
So
he's burned a couple bridges.
Was that Bo Bridges?
But we like the game.
That's okay. It's a great game. If you can get a great deal on it, do it. If you can get a great deal on the base set and then find a good deal on the Abominations, do that.
Do it.
So, but just be aware, if you're getting the base game, you're going to be very limited in your options for replays.
Yep.
So, anyways, it's going to stay on our shelf for now.
It's going to stay on our shelf. Norm's going to see what he can do about trying some painting of these figs.
So I'll be putting some videos up. I've never tried the slap chop method of painting. It's supposed to be a quick way of doing decent paint jobs, and so we'll see if I can make the pieces at least look like a little bit like the characters on the box.
We'll see how that goes. If you have any suggestions for him, leave them in the comments below.
Yeah, I could probably use some advice as I'm painting. So, anyways, those will be coming out shortly. I need to do the painting first. So.
All right, so that's it from us today. If you like what we're doing, like our videos, subscribe to our channel. We have an Instagram as well, Shelf Control. Let us know what you think. We're enjoying this, and again, hoping to keep trekking with the one video a week. So here's to 2024.
Yeah, that's right. You've been sitting quite a while with with your knee.
I had some surgery a couple weeks ago, and I'm done with the sitting. He's rambled enough. I need to get up.
Yeah. So, yep. So we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye. Prince is getting antsy too. He's like, I gotta get up.
I need to get up so bad.